Hello, and welcome to the Black and Blue FF Preview, Week 14 edition. Hey, man, we're getting down to it. It's the last week of most fantasy football leagues' regular season. Some people win and get in scenarios, lose and you're out scenarios. So just stay true to the course, look at your matchups, take advantage of bye weeks, and hit your waiver wire as all your free agency pool. When we get down to the NFC North, though, there's a battle. And guess what? It's the number one team in the NFC, the Chicago Bears, coming to Lambeau Field, 4:25 Eastern Time, afternoon game. All eyes on this matchup because this is the NFL. Two of the oldest teams in the NFL battling it out. It is the rivalry. It is the game. It is the match. College has a lot of these rivalries. You know, Michigan, OSU, Alabama, Auburn, Texas, OU, Texas A&M. Harvard, Yale. There's a bunch of these rivalries that go back. USC, Notre Dame. So you can find these rivalries throughout college football because of their proximity. And really, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Chicago, not much different. You know, the proximity keeps it a rivalry, but the fact that it's been able to go for over 100 years makes it more than a tradition. It makes it something special, right? And speaking of special, got something for all the Bear fans out there. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Before these two guys came back, the Chicago had the advantage in the series big time. These two guys have tilted it to the advantage. Aaron Rodgers stated it was like the Bears had the lead when I came in at quarterback. When I came out at quarterback, we had the lead, speaking of the Green Bay Packers. And we're going to look for some more of the same. Green Bay is 6.5-point favorites. It's a 44.5 total. Jordan Love is expected to throw for more yards. There's not a whole lot of other props out right now, but they're going to expect a game from Christian Watson. He's probably going to catch a deep ball. His longest reception's usually somewhere 21, 24 and a half. I think you can probably take the over on it. He's going to burn the safety. He's going to get past Beard over there, and he's going to get past the secondary. What else do you want me to say? Romeo Dobbs is going to have a good game. Josh Jacobs is going to be a bruiser, take a lot of pounding, run it up the middle. Set linebackers up in that second level so that they can get behind it and make a big play with some of their speedsters. Reed, I don't think he's going to be back. There is speculation that he could be back, though, so that's something worth monitoring. But you're going to start Jacobs. You're going to start Love. And then you're probably going to start Watson. And if Reed does not come back, I still like Dobbs. Touchdown, couple of receptions. He's got a very safe floor, I feel like, for the Green Bay Packers. When it gets down to the tight end position, we're really not starting anybody. But I would be leery of starting Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Romeo Oduze, DJ Moore. All right, Loveland might be able to have it. Komet, are they going to eat into each other? We'll see. But I expect Green Bay's defense to have a shutdown performance this week. Extra time to prepare, even though it's only one day. They still had an extra day to prepare to get ready for this match. Host the Chicago Bears. I mean, it's what more can you ask for, really, as a football fan? Lambeau Field, afternoon game. You don't have to worry about a bunch of other games on. Chicago Bears coming to town. Spirits of Lombardi and Hallis out there, and numerous great Hall of Famers. The list could go on between these two organizations that have produced Hall of Fame caliber players, and I think their spirit gets rekindled on this match every time, particularly when the schedule makers do us a favor and set both of these matchups up in December, late November on. It's the mystique of it, just as much as it is the data of it or the tradition of it. It's definitely the mystique and the aura that comes from coming to the mecca of NFL, Lambeau Field. Soldier Field, just as impressive. But this week, Green Bay's got the advantage. I expect us to win. Last week we were off by 1 point on our total. I'm expecting more of a blowout this game. We're going to go 27-10 Green Bay Packers at home, devastating Andy Behrens Bears. But he might have a different take on it. And for fantasy football and the Chicago Bears, here is Andy.
Friends, you and I and everyone you know now live in a world in which the Chicago Bears are the top seed in the NFC. Am I a little surprised? A little, maybe just a little bit. The Bears actually demolished a team. Maybe the final score didn't make it appear as if it was a thorough demolishing, but they handed it to the Eagles. They rushed for 281 yards against the Eagles, and they did so in a manner in which we didn't even learn anything about their running backs. We didn't learn about Kyle Monangai. We didn't learn anything about DeAndre Swift. They were both great. Those two combined for over 250 rushing yards, but we didn't learn anything about them because it was just pure, utter domination by the Bears' offensive line, which is that's a weird sequence of words to fall out of my mouth. I haven't said anything like that in, I don't know, 40 years. Who knows? Who knows when the last time was that I said such a thing? But the Bears' offensive line absolutely owned the Philadelphia Eagles defensive front. It wasn't even a contest. To the extent that it felt like, I don't know, if those two teams played 10 times, the Bears win 7, 8, I don't know. It was not a particularly competitive game in the trenches, and I got to admit, I wasn't totally ready for it. The Bears now have a positive point differential on the season. That's great to see. And of course, we're headed into a game with a plucky upstart team. The name escapes me, from the north, from Wisconsin somewhere. Bears actually facing them in 2 of the next 3 weeks. These are huge games. It feels like a split to me, but this is no time for pessimism. Can the Bears win this one? Absolutely. They just dominated a really good team in the trenches. Now, the Packers are good against everything. They stop the pass. They're giving up only 6.2 yards per attempt on the season. They're giving up only 3.9 yards per carry on the season. They're good. It's a good defense. But you know what? The Bears just gave it to a good defense. So looking forward to this one. Let's go.
I have to admit that one hurt. And frankly, I have to agree that Andy is right. The Bears are the best team in the NFC unless they lose to Iggy's Pack this week, which I'm expecting to happen, but I've been wrong all year. Anyway, I thought after Detroit lost to Green Bay in week 1 that we would beat them at home, but we just kept falling behind. We couldn't stop the run game. The Packers averaged 4.87 yards per carry. Detroit only averaged 3.57 despite having a solid outing, 86 yards from Jahmyr Gibbs. He just took a lot of carries to do it. And, it's just an area that Detroit typically dominates, and they weren't able to do it this week. So the stats were pretty even. Time of possession, total yards, everything was pretty even except for the ability of Green Bay to convert 3rd and 4th downs into points. They got 2 TDs on 4th down. Detroit was 0 for 2 on 4th down. So they're going to have to clean up those areas, or they're going to have problems the rest of the year. They did suffer a big blow when they lost Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's now considered week to week, but he missed the first practice this week, Monday. This is Tuesday morning, so I haven't gotten the practice report yet from today, but I'm not expecting him to play this week. Now, that is good news for Jameson Williams owners. Jameson Williams, I think, got 10 targets last week and converted them into over 140 yards and a touchdown, and he can score from anywhere on the field. So I think that you're going to see a heavy dosage of Jameson against the Cowboys this week. Now, Detroit also lost Khalif Raymond, which gave the opportunity to return kicks to Tom Kennedy and to get on the field with ARSB and Raymond, the number 1 and number 3 receivers, out for Isaac Tesla and Tom Kennedy to get extensive snaps. Tesla did manage to score this week. And if you get return yards, again, Kennedy is a great start. He put up 4 receptions for 36 yards, no touchdowns, but he added 102 return yards. So if you're getting those points, they count. So I do like Tesla, but only as a deep flex position, shot in the dark type play this week. I think he could score against Dallas. He's 6'4" receiver, and they don't have their top 2 tight ends. Brock Wright's out and Sam Laporte is out, and now they don't have Amon-Ra. So I think you might see Tesla used in the red zone. Jamison Williams will be the deep primary down the field threat, though, and the Cowboys do give that up. For Gibbs, he's had some worse games this year, two to be exact, and it wasn't pretty this week either. But you still have to get him in your lineup. So the Cowboys are giving up over 20 points per game to receivers, so you want Gibbs in there. I think even with the loss of ARSB, Jared Goff remains a starting quarterback. He managed 20.6 fantasy points, which ranked as QB8, and he didn't have Amon-Ra after the first quarter, actually, and Amon-Ra didn't even catch a pass. So, Dallas giving up 27.5 points to quarterbacks. You got to get Gibbs in there. Gibbs to Jamison could be very big this week. On defense, Brian Branch led the way with 10 tackles, 7 solos, and he also had 2 passes defensed. Anzalone had 9 tackles, 5 solos, in what I consider a quiet game. He had no other points, and also Jack Campbell had 9 tackles with 5 solos. Aiden Hutchinson did not manage a sack, and he didn't even get a quarterback pressure. He was getting double teamed all day long. Detroit's got to get a second pass rusher, and they may this week. But he did get 6 tackles, 3 solos. So you got to leave him in because he is getting sacks on a fairly regular basis. So I still suggest starting all 4 of these defensive players. But I got to tell you, Detroit's got to clean up their third down work, and I think that's a Kelvin Shepard DC type question. That said, what do we expect from the Vikings this week, JC?
What's up, everybody? This is JC from the Sports Affiliation, and I am here to cover the Minnesota Vikings every week. Sadly, this year has been tougher than last year to cover, but yeah, we face our former quarterback this past week as we go out to Seattle, and it was an absolute devastation, domination, just embarrassing. I mean, that's like the only word I can think of. Just embarrassing. Absolute embarrassing. But, Sam Darnold didn't have that huge game as everyone expected him to have versus Minnesota. So there is that. But Max Brosmer, let's just get into it. It was not what I expected. I knew he would have some troubles. 126 yards, right? 19 completions, 30 attempts, right? 4 interceptions, 4 sacks, no touchdowns. And let's just say that a lot of it was, poor throwing, poor decision making, but right, young quarterback. First game versus Seattle in a crazy stadium. Obviously, he played for Minnesota the Gophers outdoor stadium, pretty much just like the same thing he's playing out here when he went to Seattle. But yeah, Kevin O'Connell, I'm going to tell you right now, Kevin O'Connell is the issue with these young quarterbacks. He does great with bringing in veteran quarterbacks and retraining them and teaching them how to be a better quarterback. But it doesn't seem like he can develop these young quarterbacks who are still, learning the game and learning the speed of the NFL. And it's just like his playbook is not built for these young quarterbacks. It is too much for them to develop, and it's too much for them to learn and make these plays work. He gets too tricky, too many passing plays, especially for, JJ McCarthy, who at Michigan did not throw the ball as much as people, as KOC is expecting him to throw. So he needs to fix his coaching style, fix that playbook to fit these young quarterbacks so they can learn the speed of the game. Let them hand the ball off to these veteran running backs. Let them do these dump off passes. I know you have Justin Jefferson and you don't want to waste that talent, but bring him in, dude. Bring him behind the line. Let him do some. If you want to get fancy with these fun plays, do stuff behind the line of scrimmage. Do things close to the line of scrimmage. Let plays, it's taking too long for these young quarterbacks to get the ball out of their hands. So we need to make the plays easier and simpler for them to be successful. Okay, Kevin O'Connell, if you cannot do this year, they need to get rid of him. He needs to go. If he can't make this happen with JJ McCarthy, and Kwesi needs to go, because the dude clearly made some really bad decisions this offseason and last season. It looked really good last season, but bringing some of the players in and spending the amount of money that they did to do this bad is not a good look for the Vikings, and for our general manager. So they need to fix that too. I would not be mad if they brought Brian Flores up and let him be that coach. And he's waiting for that opportunity. I think he's doing great on defense. Obviously, we need some better. Our secondary needs to be better. But they did slow down. They slowed down JSN, who is the number one wide receiver in the NFL right now. They kept him to under, I believe. Let's see. They kept him 2 receptions, 23 yards. So pretty dang good for a guy who's, the leading receiver in the NFL this year. So if they shut him down, their number one pass catcher this past week was AJ Barner. So, and Cooper Kupp got involved, so, they had to run the ball. And Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. But, their scoring came from field goals, and it came from their defense. Their defense played super good. Max had a terrible throw and an inexcusable interception, and never should have came out of his hands. But he never should have been put into that position to do that on that 4th and 1. Yes, we're close to the goal. We're in the red zone. But Kevin O'Connell, once again, you got to make better decisions. Get the points, 3 points. You got to get those points, man. You build the confidence in your quarterback to get up to that place for us to put points on the board, and you literally let him screw himself, and you killed all of his confidence. So once again, this is Kevin O'Connell's issue, and he needs to be fixing that. Slow the plays down for these quarterbacks. All right. So let's get past that. Obviously, 0-26, we got our butts kicked. It was absolutely terrible. It was probably one of the most embarrassing games I've ever had to watch as a Vikings fan, which is hard to say because there are a lot. But, on to this week. We had to play Washington, and it's not going to be an easy game. Once again, Washington is not great. But and they are one of the worst defenses in the, or excuse me, they are one of the worst defenses in the NFL this year. So especially when it comes to defending the pass. So if JJ McCarthy needs to step up, if he can't do that, he needs to go. They need to figure something out. There's a guy on this team that we might be watching this week, that I've been talking about a lot. For the Commanders, Marcus Mariota might get a go this week. Jaden is still not passed. He's still not passed the medical, so he might not be a go, and we might get to see Mariota go again. He's somebody that I've always been huge on. Everyone says he's a career backup, but I think this would be a nice little quarterback to bring in, right, to show JJ the ropes. He does scramble. He does. Things that JJ does, right? JJ McCarthy could learn great for somebody like Marcus Mariota. So I would love to see the Vikings bring him in for like a 1 or 2 year. Even a lot of people will say maybe not, but at least you have a great veteran presence there that understands the game, who can fill in great. He will do well with a Justin Jefferson and a Jordan Addison if he wants to stay. Obviously we're going to be losing a lot of players this year, but I think somebody like bringing someone like that would maybe keep some players around. But once again, man, we picked up Ritter. They could be playing him, but they want to see what they have in JJ. I'm sorry, I'm not a truther of JJ McCarthy, but they're gonna have to stick with him. Otherwise, you're going down with the ship, and you're gonna be out, Kevin O'Connell. But anyways, like I said, this is going to be a weird game. 2 of the worst secondaries basically going against each other. So these teams could be throwing all over each other. But we don't know. JJ McCarthy is just an unknown to me, man. You could either get a JJ where he's going to have one crazy drive. You'll see that in a couple games, right? Either it's the first drive or the last drive where he goes off. and the rest of the game he does nothing. So we're hoping to see more from him this week. I'd like to see our running backs do more. Jordan Mason, clearly seemed like the guy last week. We saw Aaron Jones more in the passing game, so maybe we'll see that from him this week. I don't know. Justin Jefferson, man, not getting involved at all last week, getting shut down completely. So I just don't know what's going on with this offense. I don't really know what to expect. If you want to be starting your wide receivers, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not feel excited about it. Yes, it's a great defense to throw against, but I just don't know what's going to happen. If they are going to dumb down and slow down the plays, we're going to have some issues. I mean, you're going to not see as many passing yards. You're not going to see as many plays happen. You're probably going to see a little bit more running, but the defense, man, all I can say is, secondary is not great, but man, Dallas Turner has absolutely turned it up. I want to see a lot more from him. He's last week, man. Let me just pull these stats up from Dallas Turner. He is that guy. He's the next guy in line to be stepping up for this defense. Young guy, So Dallas Turner, man, 4 tackles, 1 assist, right? But 2 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Huge game for Dallas Turner. Huge. Blake Cashman, we talk about him every week. He actually did go under 10 tackles this week, which is not great, but five tackles, 4 assists. Eric Wilson stepped it up this week, 8 tackles, 3 assists. Some big plays, Van Ginkel, 3 and 2. He also got a sack. So we are getting some of these guys that are stepping up. The defense looks good. The secondary is our issue, right? We talk about it all the time, but they did slow down, Sam Darnold. I think it was like 150 some pass yards. Let me see real quick. Yeah, not even, man. 28 pass yards. It's pretty close to what Brosmer had. So, I mean, they slowed Darnold down. I want to see them do the same thing this week. I'm afraid of this offense. I think Washington is a great little offense, man. They can make things happen. Chris Rodriguez might get going. You can see Terry McLaurin get going. Anything can kind of happen here. Mariota can make things happen. He's a fun quarterback. So if he starts, man, magic might happen and the Vikings might end up losing again this week. So I'm going to say right now, before we end this episode of the Black and Blue fantasy football preview for the NFC North, I just want to say, I think the Vikings have a rough rest of the season schedule. I don't know if they win a single game the rest of the year. Let me just pull this up real quick. If they beat the Commanders, it's at home. That would be probably the last one I think of the year. They get the Vikings or they get the Cowboys, next week in Dallas. Then they go to the Giants. So they're there in New York versus the Giants, which is going to be a cold game, outside game. So very cold. Then you got the Lions and then the Packers, both at home. So that's good for Vikings. But man, they did beat the Lions this year. But I think that they didn't. I talked about in the last game. They did not beat the Lions. The Lions beat themselves. So there is that. I just don't know. I don't know. It is an end of season game. It is at home. It's gonna be loud. And I thought we were gonna beat up on the Packers, but that was stupid to think about because they just got wrecked by the Packers. But it's at home, right? There's an opportunity, possibility, but if you want the odds, man, I wouldn't put them in the Vikings' favor of getting any more wins this year. So I'm just gonna put it there. And we'll end it there. But yeah, let's get out of here. Skull Vikings, regardless. I am a Vikings fan. It is tough. It's like this every year. It's so up and down. Like I said, last year was crazy. This year is terrible. So hopefully we can get a good draft pick. I would really like to see Vikings go out. I mean, if they're going to continue to ride JJ, they need to go out and get a young running back that they can just hand the ball off to. That is an elite style running back. I want them to take a lot of people were going to be like, go grab a lineman, but no, I'm telling you, man, you need to go get this a healthy young running back who could be successful for years to come. We need to find that Adrian Peterson. Get this game to get this team rolling again. Because JJ, man, he's a better handoff guy than he is a passer. Just what I see. Like I said, I'm here every week talking about these Vikings. So, I'm a realist when it comes to this team, and I say it like it is. So I'm out of here. Make sure you all check out the website, which I got up here, right? Check that out. Hit the QR code. That takes you right to our website, thesportsaffiliation.com, where you can get so much content throughout the week. Many articles coming out, especially if you're in the IDP. We got some awesome articles coming out from Michael from IDP Pelton. Just tons and tons of articles coming out. Make sure you get over there. We got some data stuff, all sorts of other stuff like that. You know, rankings as well from Coach, some data stuff from the professor. I know Dennis is over there as well writing. But yeah, make sure you guys check out the website. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube, man. It really helps us out. It really helps us grow. Leave a comment. I will get back to you with the comments. We are also building a Discord, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to be inviting people to our Discord soon. We want to get that rolling. And what else? Oh, yeah. Check out Affiliated Swag. So I am going to be getting some things rolling. It has been a little bit slow, but we do have swag. We do have some gear. So if you want to get over, go to affiliatedswag.printful.me. Check out some of our gear over there. I'm going to be getting more and more stuff up as the season, dies down a little bit. It won't just be football. I got basketball stuff over there as well. I like to have some fun, so it's kind of fun, goofy gear. But make sure you check it out. But anyways, this has been the Black and Blue Fantasy Football Preview Show for the NFC North. I'm JC, and I'm joined every single week with Iggy, with Andy Behrens, and with Greg Kellogg. Very blessed, very lucky to have them on the show every week. So yeah, make sure y'all stop back every single week. This is a lot of fun. Check us out, Sports Affiliation. We're here. I'm out. Peace.